You send us your budget decks.
And we picked 2 at random, and not only are we sending you the decks you submitted, but we're playing them facing off on the field of battle, and whoever wins sends €100 to the person who sent it in.
So fun fact, if I win, that player can also buy your deck because there were €100
They can
decks.
relive the experience with both decks.
That's exciting. Oh, you know what's also exciting?
Your hand? Hopefully not too exciting.
Thank you for sending in your budget decks, and thank you to Maxine for sending in this mono red deck built around Hollow One. All we need to do is discard a bunch of cards, because every card we discard reduces the mana cost of Hollow One for 2 mana, meaning if we discard 3 cards, it's free. The cards we're using obviously need to discard a lot of cards, so that means we also have to draw a lot of cards, but thankfully Faithless Looting is newly free again from the modern banned list, so we can draw 2, discard 2. So you have chosen your starting hand.
So we're representing Adrian's deck today, and Adrian sent us a really cool budget deck that interacts with the graveyards. You have a way of putting cards into your graveyard. You have cards that come back from your graveyard, and somehow they fit 4 Psychic Frog into this deck, which is not only incredibly powerful, but like half the budget of the deck, so we're gonna really try to land one. We don't have any in our hand right now, but it's still a pretty solid hand.
What if I told you that's not actually a starting hand?
Thoughtseize not in the budget, Thoralf.
Oh, this is much better than Thoughtseize. I'll show you a mountain. Actually, almost 3 if I'm lucky. Tap the mountain and play a Burning Inquiry.
Oh, that is too much fun.
Everybody draws 3. That's cool, right? And now we get to the fun card. Everybody also discards 3 at random.
I feel like if you're playing that in your deck, you don't care.
I do care, but I mean, I have a lot of cards, so.
How do you feel about these 3?
Let me see. Oh, they're fine. Very good.
Oh, lightning
Nothing
bolts.
to say. There you go. Back. Gone.
Oh, there's a sneaky snacker in here. We'll find out what that does later, but this was a wonderful turn of ours.
You say that,
Yes, I do.
but let me show you how wonderful it actually was. I will cast a Hollow One. This says it costs 5 mana, but it also lies. Because it costs 2 less for each card I've discarded this turn.
I remember in Modern, those used to come with friends.
You're not wrong. They do like to play a party, so I'll show you a second Hollow One.
2 people is a party, 3 people is an army.
That is also correct. That's why I show you a Mishra's Bubble, which costs 0.
That was close.
I can sacrifice Mishra's Bubble to look at the top card of any player's library and then draw a card in the next upkeep. I will pass the turn.
I didn't get to show you the top of my library, but I will show you a card from my hand because Choked Estuary only comes untapped if I show you a swamp or an island from my hand.
Lucky you
This
kept
swamp
that.
is in my hand. Yeah, if that was discarded, it would have entered tapped. I will play a Citrus Supplier because I really need to block and put cards in my graveyard. When it enters the battlefield, I put the top 3 cards of my library into my graveyard.
Okay. At the end of your turn, I will look at your top card library.
Do you want to put it in my graveyard? You can by attacking.
Do I want to put that in his graveyard? Let me think about it. That is kind of annoying because if Carl blocks with his Stitcher Supplier, that Sneaky Snacker will go into the graveyard for free and it probably will come back next turn or eventually soon. So we have a decision. If we don't attack, Carl will draw the Sneaky Snacker and it won't be in his graveyard. But we don't attack, so that means we don't deal 4 damage and the Stitcher Supplier doesn't die. In my upkeep, I'll draw a card from the bubble and then I draw my regular card for the turn. So I think even though it's kind of appealing to not attack and therefore Carl drawing the Sneaky Snacker and not being able to mill it into his graveyard through the Stitcher Supplier, I will have to attack because I want the Stitcher Supplier to die so I can attack next turn, but also deal 4 damage. I don't think I can wait after attack.
Oh, so you do want it in my graveyard. I'll block the scariest one.
Yeah.
This will deal me 4 damage, and then the top 3 cards of my library go into my graveyard because my Stitcher Supplier died.
Yeah, unfortunately that happened. Well, okay, let's be quick. I'll play a Dragon Rage Channeler.
Oh!
Whenever I cast a non-creature spell, I survey 1, and if I have Delirium, which instant, sorcery, land, artifact, I do.
Very convenient.
It's a 3/3 with flying and attacks each combat if able. Go.
I'll draw. Anytime Thoralf plays a spell, that Dragon Rage's Channeler is going to trigger, and we want to prevent as many of those surveilled triggers as possible. So we're going to get it off the board right now, even though we could wait, especially since we want to play a blocker here with the other mana, and Thoralf is just incentivized to destroy it anyway. So maybe, if Thoralf has a Lightning Bolt in hand now, maybe he'll hit me in the face with it in response to get the trigger before the Channeler goes, and then the Stitcher Supplier will get to block instead of just eat a Lightning Bolt. I don't know how I'm going to push it if it's flying, but I will fatally push your Dragon's Rage Channeler, which will destroy it if it has converted mana cost 2 or less.
Yeah, it is a bit weird.
I jump really high, and when I come down, it's with a swamp, you really know,
Okay.
and a Citrus Supplier. So, oh, I'll put these 3 in my graveyard.
Ah, unearth.
Unfortunately, it's earthed right now because it's in my graveyard.
I'll play a Faithless Looting.
Speaking of your graveyard,
I will draw 2 and discard 2. Now, actually legal in Modern. I'm gonna discard 2 mountains. I will play a land for a turn, a Remnant of Ruins, which I can sacrifice 4 damage, and I attack you, you know?
Okay, well, I don't want to take half of my life total, so I'm gonna block, once again, the scariest one. This will die. I'll take a wild guess at what the top 3 cards in my library are.
Emrakul.
Woo! Unfortunately, not Emrakul.
Foil Priced Amalgam.
It's better than the regular one.
It is not. You take 4.
Yes.
And that's my turn.
You only have 1 card in hand.
1 card.
I will go digging for better cards. And I will play Tainted Indulgence. I will draw 2 cards, then discard a card unless there are 5 or more mana values among cards in my graveyard. So let's count together. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Ding, 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 ding.
That's 5 mana costs. Let's draw 2 cards.
Yep.
And that's the 3rd card I draw this turn. We're gonna do a fun thing.
Oh, why don't I think that this is fun for me?
We mentioned Sneaky Snacker earlier. It's a 2/1 flying fairy rogue. It's snacking sneakily. When I draw the 3rd card per turn, Sneaky Snacker returns from my graveyard to the battlefield tapped.
That's it, right? That's the turn.
Unfortunately, it's pretty close to that. I'll play a swamp. I will pass, and just look in case there's something that is relevant. I think there might be something. Maybe it's foil, I don't know. I have these 2 cards called Prized Amalgam.
Okay.
Whenever a creature enters the battlefield, if it entered from your graveyard, which these 2 snackers sneakily did, return Prized Amalgam from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped at the beginning of the next end step. It's the beginning of the next end step.
They are tapped.
Unfortunately, all my creatures are tapped.
So I have 1 more free turn of attacking. I hope I'll take it. I will cast a Detective Phoenix.
Oh.
It's a 3-mana 2/2 flying haste. That is what it is right now. But I can also bestow it for a red and exiling cards that cost a total 6 from a graveyard. And I can also cast it from my graveyard as an aura.
If you play 1 red and exile a bunch of cards from your graveyard, you put it onto one of your creatures, and then it becomes a flying phoenix.
I've noticed all your things came into play tapped.
You are great eyesight.
I will attack you for 10.
So much.
And I'm still reminding you that I have a ruin that deals 2 damage.
So far it didn't. So Thoralf, this is a race. And unfortunately, you started the race before I did. And your creatures are bigger.
Sounds like an Ether Drift plan.
For everything they're missing in arms, their legs are very buff. I'll attack you for 8. Now you might say, you're dead next turn, Carl. You're a 2. Well, I'll go down to a 1. I'll play Cephalid Coliseum. It has a lot of text, but right now it just deals me 1 damage. To tap for a blue, and then play another Sneaky Snacker. And play another Sneaky Snacker.
You took drawing the good card of your deck quite literally. So this is kind of the last moment. Let's see. Draw. Not good. But we can work with it.
I think since you started running before, you've run out of energy. You're tired. You're the rabbit. I'm the turtle. It's great to be a turtle. Lettuce is nutritious.
I'm so close to the finishing line.
Time for a nap.
No! Time to put in the last effort.
Wait, you love napping.
I also like winning. I'll play Faceless Looting.
You don't win a Pro Tour by napping.
Draw 2, discard 2. Lightning bolts deals 3 damage to 1 target. I think I just slashed your tire.
I was running.
You can see Maxime built this sideboard very beautifully. You have a lot of different cards for different applications, but unfortunately our deck is very dense. We need a lot of enablers by discarding your cards. We need a lot of payoff to make the discard worth it. We are an aggro deck and we want to have the best start possible. So that means we're only going to board 3 surgical extractions to deal with some graveyard shenanigans Carl does.
Todd puts out a lot of creatures early, so we're going to bring in stuff that either kills those creatures or returns them to his hand and makes him try to jump through a lot of hoops to get them back on the battlefield. And we're going to take out some of our worst counter spells to put some more cost-efficient ones back in. I'm going first this round because I got pummeled by... How do they pummel me if they don't have arms? I'll keep. This hand is hella risky because the mana is terrible. But we can kind of curve it out to play an early frog, and that frog, I don't think Todd can beat it. It blocks all his creatures, it flies through his blockers, it draws me cards, it's so powerful. So we're gonna keep a suboptimal hand and hope to ride this frog to victory and not get too sticky while we're doing that.
Actually, that is super close. We don't have a land, but we do have 2 street plays. So that means we can cycle twice, seeing 3 cards, and if one of them is a mountain, we actually do have quite a decent start. If we don't draw a mountain, we lose the game on the spot. That's not good. I'll take a mountain.
Maybe you'll be rewarded by your wisdom.
Okay, I would consider that rewarded by wisdom. I will choose this card and put it away, because those are the rules.
So here's the first step of my 3-step game plan. Step 1, I'll play this tap land. Pass a turn. It only comes into play untapped if I control 2 other basics.
It's a long-term plan.
It's actually pretty short term. You'll find out shortly.
With this deck, you have to make a decision on turn 1. Do you want to play the Hollow One for free and using your resources for that? Or do you start with the Flame Blade Adept, which then also gets the powerful bonus of discarding the cards and then play the Hollow One later? I think we're going to start off with the Flame Blade Adept and then use the Hollow One with more options later. It's still a very strong blocker, but it gives us more opportunity in the later game to react to what we want to discard or keep. I'll play a Mountain and a Flame Blade Adept. 1/2 menace and gets +1/+4 for each card cycled or discarded.
I'll play a Swamp and play a card that I don't think you can ever beat. It's Psychic. It's also a frog. When it deals combat damage to a player or planeswalker, which I don't think you have any, I draw a card, and if I discard a card, I put a +1/+1 counter on it. And if I exile 3 cards from my graveyard, it gains flying until end of turn.
A glorified wall if you don't attack.
And sometimes it's a glorified slap in the face.
Yeah, very glorified. Draw. Let me start off my turn by cycling a Street Raid. Now,
Trigger.
I cannot play this card for mana. I'll take 2 for cycling, but that meant I discarded a card and draw a card. I'll play a Mountain and a Goblin Lore. This is basically Burning Inquiry on flames.
I'm pretty sure Burning Inquiry involves flames already.
More flames.
Okay.
So instead of drawing 3 and discarding 3 at random, we draw 4. Woo! Wait, did I say we? I meant me. Only me. And then I discard 3 at random. So please.
It'll be a Mountain, a Faithless Looting, and a Bubble.
I mean, one could say if I didn't have any Hollow Ones, it couldn't have hit anything, but
Wow.
Unfortunately, I didn't gain a 3rd one, but
You have a friend that hits me in the face.
yes, so that is
5 power.
yes.
Ooh, that was a great magic trick.
Right?
I unfortunately cannot block because
No,
it has Menace.
It has Menace. And I also like how your frog can just look while you took the damage.
It looks really well. Have you seen the size of its eyes? Unfortunately, your attack is too good.
I know.
We have an opportunity here. Normally, we'd start a race, and it's a race we could win. We attack with the frog, we start drawing cards, but there is some risk. Maybe Thoralf can be explosive. So we'll use this opportunity because I just drew a language. So we're gonna take a turn off, but we can get so much advantage out of it. What we're gonna do is we're gonna pretend our hand is clunky. We're gonna pretend we're in a bad position and we need to start blocking. Because if you're blocking with the frog, you're usually not doing so well. Let's play a tap land. Let's actually spend mana on Sneaky Snacker. Let's get Thoralf confident. He'll attack. He'll think this frog is just on blocking duty. Hopefully he plays out a bunch of creatures. Then we're gonna wipe the board with this languish, take the table, and just flip it on him. Your battlefield is out of control.
Story of my life.
So I'll play this tap land, and then I'll do the saddest Sneaky Snacker ever. Pay 2 mana without having it for free, and play a 2/1 flyer.
I really hope they're at least snacking, if not sleeping.
Oh, have you seen the art? I think that's mostly what it does.
I will play a Burning Inquiry again to pump my Flame Blade Adept. So this time, it's both of us. We draw 3.
1, 2, 3. Would you like to go first?
We can do it. I'll take those.
You will discard. Oh, Flame Blade Adept. Goodbye.
Land, and into the floor mud. Both very
I
unexciting.
could have given you a fish.
So this one is now a 4/2, and a 4/4, and a 4/4.
Those were always 4/4.
And they're all going to attack you.
So this is a bit of a risk.
What do you mean risk? Not blocking seems like a bigger risk.
That is a good point. But also, I'll discard some precious cards. I will. Striking Frog has the text. If I discard a card, I put a +1/+1 counter on it. I'll discard a card. I will discard a card. I will discard a card.
Yep. It lives through the Hollow One. You
Yes.
take 4, and Sneaky Snacker is also dead.
Yes. It's had its last snack.
For the second main phase, I will play a Mountain and a Fear of Missing Out. You're part of it. Everything is happening with you.
I won't be missing out.
No. When Fear of Missing Out enters the battlefield, discard a card, then draw a card. I'll discard and draw. When this attacks for the first time each turn, if there are 4 more card types in my graveyard, then I untap target creature and that creature attacks again.
You know what? I changed my mind. I would like to miss out.
You don't get to choose. And it's your turn.
So you can attack twice. I'll attack you.
Seems like attacking. I mean, I'm not talking into you again. Yes, I'll take 4.
And I'll draw a card. I will play a Languish. This is a sorcery that all creatures get -4/-4 until end of turn. My frog is a 4/5. Good thing you didn't block. I just realized if you blocked, my frog would be dead. Who's missing out now?
Yeah, I'm definitely not missing out on that Languish. Yikes.
I'll pass the turn.
Oh, hello. You're very strong. I will pay 3 to flash back my Faithless Looting.
Oh.
So I draw 2 and discard 2 again. I mean, we're building something. I'm not sure it's something very stable. I will cycle a Street Wraith for 2 life.
Ooh, we almost have the same life total.
And then
You play a hollow one?
I'll play a hollow one.
Congratulations!
So I worked very hard for my 4/4.
I'm proud of you.
Go.
Hold on, tap and draw. Do you block? You block. Because if not, you're dead too quickly. I will exile 3 lands from my graveyard to give my frog flying.
Obviously.
Wait, actually, it doesn't fly because it leaps. So before it jumps right over your hollow one, I'll play Citrus Supplier.
Wait, I didn't realize it leaps. It's so
It's
genius.
a frog! Which will discard 3 cards, none of them are relevant. And then I will attack you in the face with the leaping frog. Right before it pounces onto your face, I will discard a card to give it a counter and hit you for 5.
I'll take 5 and you draw a card.
Because I hit you with a Psychic Frog. Let's draw some more cards. So I'm going to play a Tainted Indulgence, which will allow me to draw 2 cards, then discard 1 card, which will be this one. And then, because I drew my 3rd card this turn, these 2 Sneaky Snackers are going to enter the battlefield back, but they're tapped. This time, they're sneaky. And I'll pass.
Good. I'll play a mountain.
Ooh, good.
And pass the turn.
1 more and you can play a hollow one. You are at a life total that I think I am fine attacking into. You know what? I'll attack with the Citrus Supplier too, and this is an action movie because I attack. And right before, the hollow one is like, oh, I'm gonna go get in the way. And right before, it's gonna exile 3 cards from my graveyard and then it's gonna jump right over you.
Well, that's at least 9 points of flying damage I can't block. Oh.
Next game? Woo! Okay, we won game 2. On the back of a frog. Granted, it's a very good frog. Maybe we'll win the next game. We'll probably need a frog to do so, but if we do, Adrian, not only am I sending you this deck, but we're also putting €100 on your card market. 1, 2, 3, 4. I declare a Magic the Gathering war.
We're professionals.
Would you keep your hand?
I will keep.
This hand is missing a lot of pieces to work, but it has just the engine of Citrus Supplier with the black flare to sacrifice it. I need cards in my graveyard. This one puts 6 of them there, so we're gonna keep this kind of sketchy hand because at least it gets rid of 1 creature and it fills up my graveyard, which in this deck is basically my second hand. I feel like I have no choice. It's a risk I'm willing to take for you, Adrian.
I will start again with a mountain and a Flame Blade Adapt.
Ooh.
Very powerful start.
It'll hit me in the face for a lot. I will draw.
I mean, that's the plan.
Begin the first of many steps of revealing cards from my hand to you. I'll play a Choke Desterray. I have this Swamp.
You do.
It's gonna stay here, so you don't forget.
In the Swamp Zone.
I also have a Citrus Supplier.
Okay.
When it enters the battlefield, I put 3 cards from the top of my library into my graveyard.
Draw. Now we could do all the hollow one things, but I think it's still better to wait another turn, give us a little more of a setup, and play the fear of missing out, because if both of them might survive the turn, we could attack for such a big Flame Blade that next turn by all the discarding we get to do next turn. I'll play a mountain and a fear of missing out.
Ooh, I remember that one. It's scary as hell.
So when it enters the battlefield, I discard a card and draw a card.
Interesting.
And then my Flame Blade Adept attacks for 2.
2 is fine.
And then I will play a Mishra's Bauble.
Yes.
Which costs nothing, but will draw me a card in the process.
Draw. Oh, all I have are bangers. First, remember the Swamp. Why not? I'll attack you for 1.
You attacked me for 1.
I choose to. This was a decision I made.
I see that. Unfortunately, I don't know all the budget deck list metagame, and you're a lunatic. So I'm just gonna take it.
I got you there. I'm gonna Flare of Malice. To cast it, I need to sacrifice a creature.
Yes.
Goodbye, Citrus Supplier. No, my Swamp that I'm revealing. I will discard 3 cards. Because I sacrifice a creature, this is played for free. And each opponent sacrifices a creature planeswalker with the greatest mana value.
I have a 2.
We're no longer missing out.
A 1.
A 1, 2, 3, 4. And then because I saw this Kiora in my graveyard and it was too juicy, I'm gonna play Unearth. I return target creature card with mana value 3 or less from my graveyard to the battlefield. This Kiora, when it enters the battlefield, I draw 2 cards, then discard 2 cards.
Oh, wow.
Now you arrive. I draw 2 cards and then discard 2 cards.
Oh, 2 and 2, okay.
Prize Amalgam
Like,
and Sneaky Snacker. Fun enough, let's count my graveyard. More than 7. If I have Threshold, which is a neat thing in Magic the Gathering, that if you have 7 more cards in your graveyard, if I attack with this Kiora, I make an 8/8 legendary blue octopus creature token. I'll pass a turn.
that's like future meepons.
And because this Kiora came back from the graveyard, my Amalgam will enter the battlefield tapped.
In the end of your turn, I will activate the bubble on you.
You may look at this card.
I hate it.
I'm probably gonna love this one.
Then in my upkeep, I'll draw a card. And then another bonus card. There goes all I have. I will cycle a Street Wraith and draw a card.
Yes.
I don't even know how to calculate this. I will tap the mountain to cast a Burning Inquiry first.
I will stop you right there. You could discard my swamp, and I don't want that to happen.
Pick this one.
So I will Spell Pierce that, which counters a non-creature spell unless its controller pays 2.
Rude, but okay. All right, now I will tap the other mountain to cast a Faithless Looting.
Okay.
Draw 2 and discard 2. I will discard a mountain and a Faithless Looting.
Yes, so that's your 3rd card discarded.
I will play mountain.
Okay.
And I will cast a Faithless Looting. So we'll draw 1, 2. So we're gonna discard a Street Wraith, unfortunately not cyclable, and a Detective's Phoenix, remember?
Ah, yes, I remember the detective.
That's the card from my graveyard. The Flame Deck has 6 power.
Yes.
So I'm attacking for 6.
Ouch.
Menace. And then, before I end my turn, I'll cast the Hollow One for 4.
Why not? I'll draw. Ooh, this is a card you were afraid of.
I don't like it. It
Well-
has glitchy eyes.
I'll play this swamp. So we drew the frog. And Thoralf is right. The frog is very scary. But we have a neat trick here, and I think we can wait. Now, I'll attack with the Kiora, because I don't think Thoralf can race an 8/8. And it sucks. We will lose our Kiora. It's unfortunate. But we get an opportunity to make such an amazing amount of card advantage with this Scorpion that, yes, the obvious play would be to just play the frog here and use the other mana for a 1-mana spell. But instead of going for raw power, we're going to go for synergy here. And the best part is that it fills up our hand with so many cards that then if we want to play our powerful frog, we'll have a bunch of cards to discard and we'll have an 8/8. And as you'll see, we'll have a very full board. The only way this doesn't work is if Thoralf, instead of blocking the Kiora, blocks the Prize Amalgam, but I mean, he's not going to do that. He's not a maniac, right? Thoralf?
Carl?
We're going to have a really good turn. It looks like this is a desperate attack.
Why doesn't it seem like we actually includes me?
You're right, it's a desperate attack. I'll attack with Kiora and the Prize Amalgam. Now Kiora, whenever it attacks, I get a friend. It's an 8/8 octopus. It's also legendary.
Well, I hope she doesn't do many more legendaries in the future. I will block her with my Hollow One.
That's a very reasonable block. And now I think I'm going to do something really cool. I'm going to play a Fell Stinger. I didn't know this card either. I also had to read it when I drew it.
Okay.
It's a 3/2 Death Touch, which is already pretty cool here. But when it enters the battlefield, I can exploit, which means I can sacrifice a creature. And if I did, I lose 2 life, unfortunately.
Okay.
But then I draw 2 cards. 1, 2. And because I drew my 3rd card this game, this Sneaky Snacker comes back. And then I get a Prize Amalgam trigger for the end of my turn. I'm going to go to the end of my turn. And the Prize Amalgam will come back.
That is cool.
Right?
But you don't have a flying blocker.
I do not.
Okay. Well, I will pay a red to use the Detective's Phoenix Bestow ability.
Yes, so you can play it as an enchant creature, but it comes with a cost.
So I will exile a Street Wraith and a Burning Inquiry. Now the Phoenix is an aura that gives it +2/+2 and flying and haste.
Flying is unfortunate.
Yes, I will attack for 6.
That puts me to 4?
Your turn.
Do you have a response to my upkeep?
Upkeep.
Okay, so you have 1 card in hand and you're at 14. I came here to do a few things, Thoralf. I came here to win the game.
Usually you get up the list, but
To give Adrian this deck. No, Adrian already gets this deck. I came here to give Adrian €100. And I thought, if Adrian gets something, they can't be the only one to get something. So I have a gift for you too. It's a tapped fish. I will play Into the Floodmaw.
you don't have to give me the fish.
I want to.
Okay.
I return target creature an opponent controls to its owner's hand. If the gift was promised, instead return target non-land permanent an opponent controls to its owner's hand. Would you say that's a non-land permanent?
It's also a creature.
Now, I'm not a marine biologist, but is this a tapped fish? Here you go. It's tapped. I will attack you for much more than lethal.
I'm using my fish to launch a lightning bolt to your stinger because it deals 3 damage, right?
Yes.
I'm not a mathenotologist, But I think that's not 14.
I didn't plan on giving you a fish that filled up. This was supposed to be for dramatic effect.
It was very dramatic.
I did tell you I'm not a microbiologist, so hopefully this is a fish enough.
So lightning bolt resolves.
Yes, so my Felstinger's dead. Now that the dust is settling...
I'll take 13 and go to 1.
Unfortunate.
Depending on which point of view. For me, I think it's quite fortunate. And I think Maxime would agree.
Oh no, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. You have a fish. I have a scorpion in my earth. I'm gonna cast Unearth on my Felstinger. Now we'll have to read this one together. It has Death Touch. It's a 3/2. When it enters the battlefield, it exploits. I'll get rid of this Prize Amalgam.
So you do the trick.
Maybe we want to read this together. When Felstinger exploits a creature, target player draws 2 cards and loses 2 life. I will sign and blood you with my bug.
Since when?
I was asking myself the same thing.
So I
Adrian!
draw 2
Yes.
and lose 2.
Adrian, not only do you have this deck in the mail, but I'm also putting €100 on your Cardmarket account.
I still want to thank Maxime for sending in such a very powerful and cool deck.
I hope Maxime enjoys Hollow One because now they're getting 4 in the mail.
It's also, they come in multiples. You don't
Yes.
only get one. It's impressive what you can build for just €100.
I didn't expect a deck with 4 Psychic Frogs in it.